Hi guys, this is Max here from the YouTube channel Max Talks Politics. And today we're going to take a nice little look at taxation in the United States. Now, what is wrong with our tax system? Well, just take a look at this red line here. The red line represents the amount of taxes paid by each individual from the bottom 10% of the income class to the top 0.1% to the top 400, and it represents the tax burden in relation to a person's fortune. Like, how much of their money do people pay in taxes? And you see that especially members of the middle class, ranging from like 30 to 90%, 30 to 80%, pay the most amount of taxes in ratio to their income and other expenses. So the middle class, which is the biggest part of American society and which is supposed to be the backbone and bedrock of our economic system, they're being taxed the most. And guess who's being taxed the least? The people that have the most. Now, I am by no means a leftist. I would never say that we need to tax the rich out of existence. We need to tax the billionaires and billionaires, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not that type of person. But what pisses me off is that people who work hard, people who take home little money, have to give a lot of it to the government. And our tax system is just rigged in a way to benefit wealthy individuals. So I made a few adjustments to it. Now, I introduced a wealth tax. 3% for everybody making over $1 billion, 2% for everybody making over $50 million, 1.5% for everyone over $10 million, and I think 1.5% also for everybody making over $1 million. Now, the reason why I choose this is because a wealth tax is necessary since the wealthiest individuals in America have no income. Jeff Bezos might formally be on the Amazon payroll, but he doesn't really get a huge salary. He makes his money off stocks. And that's why the taxation rate for the top 400 people is the lowest out of anyone, because they don't have to pay any income tax whatsoever. So doing what the left suggests, which is to raise the income tax rate, is not going to do any good. Because even if you do raise that tax to like humongous degrees, the wealthiest individuals pay essentially the same amount as they did before. So what I suggest instead to do is that we simply rethink the way how we tax. Let's make it easier for middle income people. I put down the income tax rate to 0% for everybody making less than $165,000 a year, and I lowered it for people making less than $315,000 a year, which would cover the vast majority of Americans. Then I abolished the corporate tax rate because that is actually one of the biggest bugs in the ass of creating new jobs and economic opportunity. And the reason for that is that the corporate tax hurts corporations, and corporations are the ones that invest the most into growing their businesses and hiring new employees. I actually should also bring in a better taxation of multinationals because we need to make sure that everybody in this country, even if they have dual citizenship, are subject to the same tax laws. Now, I hired the estate tax since this is mostly paid by extremely wealthy individuals, and I put the avoidance rate down to 0 because we shouldn't let anybody get away with anything. Everybody should have to pay their fair share of taxes that they're legally obligated to pay by law. But most importantly, I eliminated the sales tax. And if you're asking me why I did that, well, then let's put it back on. You see what happens? One of the biggest burdens for the middle class is the sales tax. People at the top are not really affected by it, but people at the bottom are. Whenever you purchase a carton of milk in the supermarket, or when you purchase a new car, a new house, or anything, you have to pay a sales tax. And it's paid by both the guy who sells it and the guy who buys it. People that are wealthy already have a lot of property, and they don't need to buy a lot of new things. And also, they can most oftentimes just write it off some other taxes. So if we get rid of the sales taxes, it will be one of the biggest reliefs for hardworking families that we could possibly imagine. And it's going to be especially helpful now in times of inflation, because the prices on every single fucking product, be it a hairbrush, a pillow, or a new Cadillac, all prices are gonna go down radically. And now, that last but not least, actually, that was everything. But importantly enough, what this system does is it brings down the amount of taxes paid by poorer individuals, and it raises the amount of taxes paid by more higher income individuals. And if we look at how it used to be in the past, back in 1950, which is by many considered to be the golden age of America, most taxes were paid by the wealthiest individuals in America, and the least taxes were paid by the poorest individuals. The reason why that changed is because society itself has changed. Back in the 1950s, income tax rates were higher, but most wealthy people were making their money through income. Stocks weren't really common yet back then. The more relevant stocks and online-based trading became, the easier it became to just not pay income taxes, because instead of income tax, you could just pay sales tax on your stocks when you sold them, and selling a stock would essentially be your income. And the wealth tax would bring back this old system, because all of a sudden you couldn't just have your stock lay around in order to make you wealthier, because then you'd have to pay a wealth tax. So you're essentially being forced to sell part of your stock if the value of your stock goes up, and then you give that money to the government. And you will still be enormously wealthy. If you have over $1 billion and you have a huge amount of increase in your stock value every year, and you have to sell 3% of the value, come on, you're going to be all right. But you know who's going to be all right too? In fact, much all righter is the people who work hard, who don't have billions of dollars in their stock accounts, who at most have a retirement fund in the stock market, and these people are going to take home more of their paycheck. Especially if you're in the bottom 20%, you're also going to pay at most 25% on your taxes. If you're in the bottom 50%, it'll still not be more than 28.9%. And as long as you're in the bottom 90%, you won't get above 30% of your paycheck being sent to the government. In order to have it get more expensive for you, you literally have, in order to even pay a third, you must be a member of the top 1%. And I believe that my system does the one thing that it is supposed to do, which is bring back tax equality. Make it possible for ordinary people to grow their fortunes, to reach the upper class, to become billionaires themselves. Do not create a money-based nobility where the wealthiest individuals pay just 27% of our taxes, where the wealthiest individuals will always pass on generational wealth and keep people in the lower and middle class forever because they have poorer and worse starting opportunities. Bring back this concept of America being the land of unlimited opportunities regardless of what social class you were born in. And that's what I believe tax justice means. By the way, if you want to check out this website, I highly recommend it. But for now, the point of this video is we gotta get taxation to be fair again. Because that's the reason why so many people want to raise taxes, because they feel like rich people don't pay enough, and they don't pay enough. But what they also don't recognize is that ordinary people pay too much. So I say, raise taxes on the rich, but cut taxes for the poor. Cut taxes for the middle class. And that's going to stimulate the economy more than any tax cut has since probably Ronald Reagan. So, I hope you support this proposal. I'm really excited to hear your comments in the section down below. Please let me know what you think. Have a good day, and Max out. See you later.